Hi, I'm Heather from here at Booktubes, and I am a booktube channel, so my videos are usually about books, specifically romance books, although I do dabble here and there, but it's mostly romance. But this is my reading journal. This is my second year doing a reading journal. I am super freaking excited to do this. I've been waiting months to do this video. I use my journal a little differently. I think that, in fact, my sister uses Excel for work. Like, she's a pro. And she said my journal was like an Excel spreadsheet, and that's kind of what I was going for. So I'm pretty happy about that. Because I have a booktube channel, I already talk about every single book and review every single book that I read. I also keep track of it on Goodreads. So that's not what this is for. This is more of a monthly thing, and then like the stats for each and every book, but you'll see. So I think it's a little bit different than probably any reading journal that you have seen. So I hope you enjoy. I picked the exact same journal that I got last year from Paper Minty Studio on Etsy. Everything will be linked in the description in a Etsy wish list, basically. Paper Minty Studio is on break until January, but then they're coming back with all new things. So a lot of this is from Paper Minty Studio. If the thing that you like is not available, she's doing like all new stuff. So here we go. I just skipped that. Here we have my 2023 goals, and you can pause if you want to see anything. This is a Taylor Swift lyric. 2023 TBR. These are mostly not romance. There's a couple of romance releases on here, but I do romance all the time. I don't need a specific challenge to read a book, and I also lose interest in books, so I didn't want to do that for my TBR. This is for my channel, so this is the growth of my channel. The number of subs will be written on the side, and then when each month is over, it will go up. So it will be like a graph chart rising up there. So these are my top videos of the month at the end of the month. So the first day of the next month, basically, I go through, check and see which were my top 5 videos and write those in order of how many views they got. And I'm just curious to see how it changes throughout the year or at the end of the year, or if the top video, outperformed everything else that month, and that didn't change at all. These are my top videos of the year, views-wise, and then these are my favorite videos of the year, the one that I personally just loved. This is my spread for the Innkeepers Read Along by Alona Andrews. We are doing each book for the next 6 months. I'm really excited about it. This is our 3rd series. I am not a big commitment reader, but because I have already read these books, I know I love them, and that is what has really made these read-alongs work for me. Alona Andrews is an urban fantasy romance author. These are the days read. Did this a little differently than I did last year. I'm really happy with it. You can see I have different colors for each day. I know the light might not be the best. Ooh, there you go. But I really like having a color on every single day, whether that was a no reading day or not. Have an extra page just in case I think of something watching everybody's videos. Then these are my ratings. So I have decided to add in a little bit of like half-star ratings in this only. It won't be in my wrap-up videos or anything like that, but rereads, favorites of the year, everything I wanted, close but no cigar, enjoyable, slightly above average, average, mistakes were made, thanks I hate it, loathe entirely. Because I'm a huge DNFer, these usually aren't high numbers because I quit. Then this is author diversity and author frequency. So I believe in reading diversity because I think that all of the books being published should not be from white, straight, cis-het people. So, because of that, it's important to me, and I like to track it. So the author frequency, last year I just had new to me and tried and true, and I didn't like that. So I have new to me, new repeat, new favorite, repeat, and all-time favorite. So I don't know how well these are going to fit the actual authors that I read, because I read a couple hundred books a year. But we're experimenting. So we'll see if those squares were big enough. Then this is the source that I got the book recommendation from. So booktube, bookstagram, book talk, goodreads, other, which is basically Twitter or maybe an in-person person. And then this is going to be a list of names of people who recommended it to me. I will do whatever book I read in the new year that was from a specific recommendation. They'll be the first name, and then they'll get like a colored square. And so the order of people will just be the order I happen to read from them in 2023. Then these are my DNFs. If they were diverse, a new author, a repeat author, possibly pause or loathe. Most of my DNFs are new authors, but there are definitely some that are repeat authors. And possibly paused is not something I use a lot. Usually if I DNF a book, I'm not interested in picking it back up. This is Schitt's Creek quote. Then this is the Never Ending TBR added to Goodreads. Use different colors for each month. I have this post-it so I don't forget. So I delete books off of my Goodreads without reading them or doing anything with them all the time. So I was kind of curious to see how many books I'm actually adding to Goodreads. Then I have removed from TBR without downloading. No Body, No Crime. Taylor Swift reference. Perfect in my opinion. So these are the ones I deleted from Goodreads without actually doing anything with them. This is added to KU or the library. I mostly read from these two sources, Taylor Swift lyric, and returned without reading. So I downloaded it, I got it from KU or the library, and then I sent it back in without ever opening the book, which happens all the freaking time. Then I have checked out again. Then I have read on repeat checkout. So I actually read it this time. These will just be the same color probably, or maybe a different color for each month. And then this one will be the rating of the book color. Then commitment reads. Again, I don't like commitment reads. So I was curious to see how many books I was reading for commitments and what they tend to be rated, right? So live shows, read along, challenges, readathons, videos, or friend/buddy reads. Like I read it because a friend specifically asked me to, or I buddy read it with them. Books bought, owned, ebooks read, not a very big number, and arcs. I don't do arcs. I don't like commitment reads. I probably do less than 5 a year. Then read physically, owned physically, but read digitally because I am a digital reader. That's pretty much how I read. Anticipated releases tracker. So I have an anticipated releases video every month for indie romance, and I like to see what I ended up bringing them of the ones that I did end up reading. And this doesn't have to be just books that were in the videos. Like if I found out about one after the video, it still counts, but I was looking forward to it the second I heard it was going to be a book. Then this is the rating for the books I read from the library and the books I read from Kindle Unlimited in January. And then, I'll add on after. Last year I did have to add in another page, so I just already left that blank right there. This is my length of the book tracker. This is one of my favorite spreads in the whole journal. So under 50, 50, 150, yada, 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 all the way to 651 plus will get its own color. Last year, I didn't have this breakdown as small increments, and I dislike that. So I changed it, and I'm very excited about it. I do tend to read under like the 250 mark, but I definitely have some books that are up there. Then this is my age of the main character tracker. So child, teen, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. These are my most read ages, so they're the biggest squares. This is the age range that the book is intended for with publishing. So middle grade, young adult, new adult, adult. Obviously, I'm mostly an adult reader. Then this is published. So if I read it on release day, 2023, 22, 21, 20, the 2010s, the 2000s, the 1980s to 1990s, and prior to 1980. And then indie and traditional, I obviously read mostly indie. this is like the categorization of the backlist of the book. So is it a debut book, a backlist, but it's my first book by that author, a new release, or a backlist repeat? I've read the author before. I'm reading more books that they've already published. Then diversity of main characters, BIPOC, queer, physical, mental. So diversity of side characters, BIPOC, queer, physical, mental. This has to be a significant part of the story. It can't just be the waitress was brown. Like, it has to have a significant side character to be there. But like sometimes it's romance and it's a single parent romance and the child is the one, or like the brother is the one that has the diversity. And so I just kind of wanted to track that because I haven't been counting it. Then this is my steamy one. So none, some, standard, steamy, hot, hot, hot. And then these are my kink trackers. So this is new. I've left a lot open for when I come across one or think of one that I do a lot. So that will be all added in. I left lots of space. These aren't even marked. So I just did some that I thought of, and then we'll add in more later. This is my series progress tracker. This will only be filled out as I read a book in the series in 2023. I have different colors for prior to 2023, read in 2023, and that will be how I track that. My manga tracker. I'm not a huge manga reader. I'm a dabbler, and I mostly just read what 2 of my friends recommend me, and that's it. So, but I do like to keep track of it. This is rereads, only mood rereads. So like my Innkeeper's read along won't be on here. This is from Kate Daniels, which is also by Alona Andrews, an all-time favorite. And my rereads, I am a rereader, comfort reads, love that. I kept track of it. I added quotes last year. Big fan, loved how it turned out, want to do it again. And this is genre tracker. So romance obviously being the biggest one. Others, I left room for more. Subgenre tracker. This is all of the subgenres in romance that I'm reading. Again, left room for more. Ignore that smudge, who knows. Then this is my trope tracker. Now, all of these stickers, both the genre, the subgenre, the tropes, all of these are from 11 Words on Etsy. She is a booktuber. She is also my friend, but I will tell you that I would buy these no matter what because I love having them in my journal. So Alpha Mellow, Cinnamon Roll, these are squares based on how much I read them last year, so I do kind of have an idea. And I did play around with this, so you can see I changed how the squares were set up a lot. These are just general, and these are ones that I basically did not use at all last year, so we'll see. And then this is more dark romance specific ones. These are more mafia specific ones. Obviously, Marriage of Convenience, Bodyguard doesn't have to be mafia, and you're just opposites attract. But a lot of the times I do have them in mafia, so I just put them in this section. Then I have paranormal. So I'm excited to track all these. I was curious of which types I did. So again, I checked in like the last couple weeks how many I read in 2022 and then kind of did their boxes accordingly so that I'd have room for them. This is historical romance. Not a big historical romance reader, but I did dabble in it again this year. So I read a handful and I wanted the specific tropes. And then these are diversity ones that I just kind of added here. I obviously already have the diversity page, but these were kind of specific ones that I was like, let me see what I've got of those. So I tend to read a lot of Black love, a little bit of interracial, multicultural, and I would say I read a lot of own voices. Typically, if I'm reading a BIPOC character, a queer character, a disabled character, I'm reading it from an author who shares that identity. I have a couple of blank pages in case I have more tropes or think of more things that I want to add. And then we start with like the monthly spread. So first quarter goals, again, you can see I have the different colors for tracking which one it is. I kind of wanted the stickers to take us from January to March, and I had this in my last journal and I've really enjoyed it. January. I am not in love with this spread. I don't really love the way I did this. I kind of took some things out of my monthly spread and changed the format a little bit, and don't really have 100% nailed down, but that's totally fine. So these are like highlights, books, videos, lives, things. This is supposed to say family. I apparently forgot to write that, but I just kind of write my favorite parts of the month. And mood tracker, I kind of like to see how this corresponds with reading. And then my TBR, not a big TBR reader. I'm definitely a mood reader, but I've got things to read, so they're on there. And then 2 different sets of friends of mine are doing basically read what you own challenges for the beginning of the year, and I want to participate. I don't really buy many books. I already told you I read Kindle Unlimited in the library, but these are ebooks, and there's like 1 physical manga that I have that I will have because they're pre-ordered during those months that I'd like to actually read. So that's where I'm at with that. And that is it. I do have, of course, a color tracker. These are my star ratings, and I'm using this set of markers this year. I don't know that I'm going to do any other ones, but if I use my colored pencils or my other markers or my watercolor markers or any of the things, they'll get swatched back here as well. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that this did give you some ideas, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.